Hello and welcome back to Calendar Mysteries May Magic by Ron Roy. We are on chapter 4, Too Much Magic. And if you remember, the mom might have just been turned into a duck. Or a goose, a duck. Too much magic. You turned our mom into a duck, Brian yelled. Bradley couldn't open his mouth. He just stared at the duck. It stood in the middle of the stage and looked at the audience. Then it sat down and began preening its feathers. The bracelet around the duck's neck glistened under the lights. My goodness, said Hippo. I guess I used too much magic. Hippo got down onto one knee next to the duck. Pamela, can you hear me? He said into the duck's ear. The duck said, Quack! The audience was totally quiet. You could have heard a feather drop. Hippo turned to the audience. What should we do? He asked. Change her back, Bradley and Brian yelled together. Change her back, the audience chanted. Change her back. Change her back. Very well, Hippo said, but we must have silence. You're scaring the duck. You're scaring Mrs. Pinto. The audience settled down again. Hippo shooed the duck back into the booth and closed the curtain. Then he closed his eyes and spoke. Pamela doesn't want to quack. Hippo now will change her back. With my magic and Hippo luck, she'll no longer be a duck. Miss Hippo swept the curtain open and Mrs. Pinto stepped out. The audience broke into cheers and whistles. Mom! Bradley cried. He jumped up and hugged his mother. How do you feel, Pamela? Hippo asked. Thirsty, she said. Do you suppose I could have a glass of water? I'm feeling extremely thirsty. Hippo poured Mrs. Pinto a tall glass of water. She drank it out and held out the empty glass. Thank you, she said. May I have another? I don't know why I'm so thirsty. I just crave water. Hippo gave Mrs. Pinto a second glass of water. She gulped it down again and handed him the glass. Pamela, may I ask how you feel about ducks now? Hippo asked. Do you still dislike them? What a silly question, Mrs. Pinto said. I adore ducks. I love the way they waddle and splash in the water. Brian poked his brother. See, Bradley? Mom adores ducks, he whispered. It worked! Bradley couldn't believe his eyes and ears. Hippo beamed at the audience. Thank you, Pamela Pinto. Thank you, boys, he said. The audience cheered as Bradley followed Brian and their mom off the stage. Bradley noticed a white feather stuck to the hem of her dress. Back in their seats, Bradley snuck a look at his mother. Did she really love ducks now, he wondered? Would she let Brian raise them? Shaking his head, Bradley sat back and watched the rest of the show. Boy, Mom's been in the bathroom a long time, Brian said the next morning. I know, Bradley said. He was sitting on his bed waiting to brush his teeth. Did you knock on the door? Brian threw himself on the bed. Yup, she's taking a bath. A long bath. It's weird. I can hear splashing around in there. Weird, Bradley said. When we splash in the tub, she yells at us. Yeah, no fair, Brian said. Plus, she always took showers before. Anyway, when she comes out, I'm going to ask her. Ask her what? Bradley asked. If I can get some ducks to raise, Brian said. He grinned at his brother. He had an evil twinkle in his eye. Now that she loves ducks so much, she's bound to let me, thanks to Hippo. Do you really think she got hypnotized last night? Bradley asked. Hippo looks like a big phony to me. Duh, he turned Mom into a duck, Brian said. Then he turned her back. What's phony about that? Bradley sat on his bed and thought about what had happened at the high school last night. Did you notice anything strange about Mom when we got home? He asked. Like what? Brian asked. Well, she didn't yell when we ate ice cream before bed, Bradley said. She never lets us eat ice cream at bedtime. Brian stared at his twin brother. You're right. She didn't even remind us to brush our teeth. Bradley looked at the clock. It was almost 10:30, and she didn't tell us to make our beds this morning. It's almost like she doesn't care what we do. Cool, Brian said. He picked up a comic book. Bradley tiptoed into the hallway and stood outside the bedroom door. He could hear splashing and his mom singing. He put his ear against the door. Bradley tore back into his room. Brian, you have to hear this. Come on. The two boys huddled next to the bathroom door, with their ears against the wood. They heard their mother singing. 6 little ducks that I once knew. Fat, short ones, fat ones, skinny one too. But the one little duck with the feather on his back, he rolled the others with the quack, quack, quack. That's it for chapter 5, or chapter 4. So something weird's happening to Mom. She's not acting like herself. She's singing a duck song in the bathroom. She let them eat ice cream. She didn't remind them to brush their teeth. I wonder what's going on. That's it for today. See you tomorrow. Bye.